History was made in Toronto yesterday with the first ever professional women's hockey league game. A sellout crowd of more than 2,500 fans watched New York take on Toronto.
Carpenter, and she'll take the draw. New York wins at Shelton with her stick on that, and she gets it! Ella Shelton scores! History is hers!
Now, New York did beat Toronto 4-0 in the inaugural game, but the first goal was scored by a Canadian. Ingersoll, Ontario's Ella Shelton plays for New York, and her goal was the first ever for the league. That puck and her stick were shipped to the Hockey Hall of Fame immediately after the game. And we have Ella Shelton now with us. We reached her in Stamford, Connecticut. Ella, welcome and congratulations.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Super excited to be here.
You look excited. How are you feeling?
Feeling great. I think I'm still in awe about the whole day yesterday and still trying to take it all in.
What was that moment like for you? I mean, obviously every player on that ice was hoping to do exactly what you did. You did it. So what was it like?
Yeah, I think for myself, that whole day in general was, like I said, just surreal and still in awe about it. And our mentality going into the game, I think for myself, was just to play fast and physical and have a shot mentality. So without Carpenter taking that face off, winning that puck back, and me taking a chance and throwing a puck at the net together, the group of 6 out there and the entire New York team made history, putting us on the board.
What have people been saying to you and reacting in terms of that goal that you scored?
Yeah, I've received so much love and support from family and friends, people from my small town and surrounding areas, people who I don't even know have been reaching out and sharing their warm wishes and how exciting they are for me. And I think the love that I've felt is just the reason why that I continue to play this sport, and all the little girls that look up and go, I'm going to be like her one day. I hope that they continue to chase that dream.
Ella, talk to me about your younger self growing up in a small town like Ingersoll, Ontario. How do you think little Ella playing hockey would react to what has happened now?
I think little Ella would be just screaming at the top of her lungs and super excited, probably running around, yelling at everybody to say, like, look what she just done. I think of how far the women's game has come. And for myself, I grew up playing with just boys teams, and then it wasn't until later in my career that I started to realize that women play hockey. And now that I am, a pathway maker for a professional women's league, it just makes it all much better for that next generation and for future generations to know that they can also be a professional women's hockey player.
Yeah, no, you're right up there now for a lot of those young little girls who play hockey, and some of them, no doubt, were in that storied venue that you all played in yesterday. What was the atmosphere like?
Oh, it was just electric. I mean, even though it wasn't New York's home arena, coming home to Toronto, I'm only an hour and a half away from there, so lots of family and friends were able to come to that game. And just seeing the amount of support that women's hockey and our league gets from, Toronto and fans in Ottawa or Montreal, even in New York and Boston and Minnesota, it just goes to show how far we've come in. And there's so much support towards us. So you could just feel the fans' energy. You could feel the hype around the game. And between the media coverage and the signings and the photos and the videos that were taken that day, it sets the bar super high for 2024, and I can't wait to see what else comes this year for us.
Yeah, I can totally hear and appreciate what you're saying in terms of your loyalty to your team, because that's obviously that's paramount what you do. But of course, Canada thrilled that it was you that got to score that goal and that you got to do it in Toronto itself. What do you hope all of the young girls who might have been in the audience watching you do that take away from this first game?
I hope they take away from this first game that they can continue to play the sport that they love, whether it's hockey or soccer or baseball, volleyball, even in the arts, like whatever their passion is, that they have an avenue for them to grow up and be the best of the best. So for young women's female hockey players, I know that they are looking up to all of us and going, I'm going to be like her one day. And I hope that when they get to the league and they're at that age, that they continue to do that for the next generations to come too, because that's what it's all about. It's not about the now. It's not about me right now. It's about what I can do to make sure that this league has longevity and that so many other women have the opportunity that I have.
So next up here, Toronto's going to be traveling to Connecticut for New York's home opener, and that's on Friday. So how has your team been preparing? Because you got to know, I mean, you know, Toronto's going to want this pretty bad.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree that they're going to be coming at us with a really strong game for the next one. I think for us, we're just going to really focus on the areas that we struggled with against Toronto in Toronto. And I think as soon as we hone in onto that, we have all the tools in our tool belt to come out on top again. We set a standard for ourselves as the New York team, and it was a pretty high bar. So nothing less is going to be expected from New York. And I think we're going to hold ourselves accountable to that. I think we're all, you know, professionals, and we all want to be on top at the end of this. It's a short season, only 24 games, so every game matters. So there's no time for taking off.
Ella Shelton is a Canadian ice hockey player and defender for New York in the Professional Women's Hockey League. She scored the first ever goal for the league. Thank you so much, Ella.
Thank you so much for having me.